Hi, so we're solving equations here, and it says solve, and we have 2x plus 1 equals 3x minus 3 minus 5x. Now, always the goal when you're solving is to isolate your variable, and in this case, my variable is x, so I have to isolate x. And the problem is I have x's all over the place here. I have them on the left. I have two different x's on the right. So they're all over the place. Super hard to isolate if I have them all over the place. So I need to combine them. The very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can combine any like terms on either side before we go into the other steps of solving equations. So my first thing I'm going to do is combine like terms. So I look on the left and 2x plus 1, those are not like terms. I can't combine anything there. And then I go over to the right and I have 3x minus 3 minus 5x. Now, the 3x and the minus 5x are like terms, so I can combine them. 3 minus 5 is negative 2x. So I now have negative 2x minus 3 on the right of the equal sign, and on the left I have 2x plus 1. Now I just want to make sure I did that right. So 3 minus 5 is negative 2x. So that is correct. Now my next step is I still want to get all of my x's to the same side. So I'm going to move all x terms to the left. They can be, you can put them all on the left or on the right. I like to put all of my x's on the left because that's how I like to see it. And that works better for me. So I'm going to get rid of this negative 2x on the right here, I'm going to do the opposite of negative 2x and add. And since this is an equation, as long as I do the same thing to both sides of the equation, I'm good. So then I add 2x to the other side. 2x and the 1 again can't combine, so we're combining the two 2x's together to get 4x. On the left I have 4x plus 1, and on the right I now have just minus 3 because the negative 2x and the plus 2x cancel out and you get 0. All right, so now we have a type of equation that we're used to. Very first thing we always do is we're doing the opposite of order of operations here. So we're going to add or subtract first because we're isolating our x, and then we're going to multiply or divide. So the first number I need to get rid of to isolate my x, to get my x by itself is a plus 1. The opposite of plus 1 is minus 1. So I subtract 1 from both sides. On the left, I'm left with 4x, and on the right, I get minus 4. Now I have 4 times x equals minus 4. The opposite of multiplying by 4 is dividing by 4. So I divide by 4 on both sides. On the left, I get x, and on the right, I get negative 4 divided by 4, which is negative 1. Just going to go back and make sure I did everything correctly. So very first thing I did is I combined my like terms because I had x's all over the place, so I combined like terms. And then I moved all my x's to the left. And so I added 2x to both sides. The next thing I did is I subtracted 1 from both sides, because I'm trying to isolate my x, which means get it all by itself. And then the next thing I did is I divide both sides by 4. And by doing that, I was able to isolate my x to get it by itself. And so right now I'm saying the answer is x equals negative 1. And always, with these types of questions, we need to check our answer. So to check your answer, you plug back into the original equation. Need a little more room, so I have to go to a different page. So my original equation was 2x plus 1 equals 3x minus 3 minus 5x. Just go back and check that. Right, okay, good. And I got my answer to be minus 1. So instead of x, I'm going to put in minus 1 to all the places that I had x. And we put a question mark because we want to see if the left side equals the right side. That's the goal. We don't know if it's going to. 2 times minus 1 is negative 2 plus 1. Does this equal 3 times minus 1 is negative 3 minus 3, and then minus 5 and negative 1 is positive 5. So now we're just going to add them up. Minus 2 plus 1 is negative 1. Minus negative 3 minus 3 is negative 6 plus 5. Negative 1. Does this equal negative 6 plus 5? And it does, because that equals what? Negative 1. Negative 1 equals negative 1. And we are correct. So this is checking the answer. And here is all of our work. Just leave that there just in case you want to see it. We combined like terms. We moved all the x's to the left. You always have to add or subtract first, and then you multiply or divide. And we always do the opposite. So in this case, we subtracted 1 from both sides, and then we divided both sides by 4. Got an answer to be negative 1. Okay, thanks for watching.